Hello everyone, it's been a long time since I made a video on this game, and I feel like making a wand guide would probably be the best move to do in 2023. I thought I should have done it earlier. I didn't, I had time on my hand, I just kind of didn't feel like I want to post, but I think we should just start talking about the wand in general in the current meta. It's great. Honestly, the wand is a great, one of the best weapons in the game, in my opinion. No one can change that opinion of mine. It's very true. The wand can do so much. The only mag or the only Tempest mag in the game is that gives dark is for wand, right? So wand is, well, it's not the only Tempest mag. There's other one, but it's like not in the subcategory. But wand gives dark, which is very thought after because the knowledge Magatama event is never coming back for some reason. It has not came back in a long time for the game. So the wand can kind of compensate for that lack of dark element with their Tempest Magatama, which is already very insane because it gives you dark and fire. So let me go to Onigashima real quick. Get out of the event area. As you can see, I'm still running the weapon from the Handa Tadakatsu event. They're insane. The weapon is crazy for a free-to-play weapon. Alright, I'm gonna go to Onigashima. My build has improved. I'll tell you that much for sure. It has improved a lot. Uh, Specifically the Rain and Wind build because of the Fusion Bear Magatamas. Alright, so let me take off this fat ass freaking robot off the screen. Alright, here we go. So, Wand, easily the most versatile weapon in the whole game beside dual swords. You can have access to all the elements, including rain, wind, ice, dark, fire, and holy. Okay? Now you have access to every single element in the game. Now I'm gonna start from zero, okay? Because it's a new guide for the wand. We're not gonna go very big from the start. So how do you start off with wand in the game? I'm gonna shortcut it because I did a guide in 2022. I think I talked about it for like 2 hours and I thought that was too much. So I'm gonna shortcut very fast. You will need to get first all the way up high in the story. The way you do that is by working with this guy right here, your shopkeeper, Miroku. You will get him very early on in the story. He's gonna be the third partner you actually meet in the story. So, there we go. We talked with Morocco, we did the daily bargains. Alright, now why is Morocco important? He even tells you if you're still a noob, then I recommend Sunrise Weapons and Magatama 1 and Magatama 10. Check them all out. Now, the Magatamas that he offers you are actually very good for a single reason that they give you skill force. Now, skill force is the percentage increase on every skill that you're going to do. So let's say if the skill says I'm gonna give you like 100 or like 1200 skill force on base or 1200 damage on base, whatever that gives you, take it and multiply it by the percentage that this Magatama gives you. The best Magatama he will offer you is the 100 million, and it is going to give you 200% skill force on base, which is pretty good if you're a new player and you still don't have access to the mags you need. It carries you out a lot. It really carries you so much. I personally did the story only with his weapons and mags until the Handa Tatakatsu event came and I got the weapon. But you don't need the Handa Tatakatsu weapon to do your game stuff. And I'll tell you why. So, you got the weapons, alright, you got the sunrises. The sunrises are gonna fall off very shortly after. So, I'll drop down by like 20k attack, but basically with the sunrises, if I just show you here, with a sunrise weapon, you're gonna be using them for like the first. You can use them all the way up to Seki or up to Sekigahara or up to Kaga. Then after that, you're probably gonna unlock the myriad weapons, which you will want to switch to. They are the better version of the sunlight or sunrise weapons. Okay. And you can already see the buffs that the weapons give you. I don't need to go into full detail. You'll be able to check them out on your own. You'll understand them. Basically, the main source of your power in this game is going to be the Magatamas that you have on you and the base attack of your weapon and what elements your weapons give you. So the game later on will get very, very versatile. So, like, let's say you ran with Morocco's weapons, you finished Edo, you've gotten to Ushu Highway, you started playing the game, and then you're like, okay, I'm feeling my DPS is getting a little bit lower. What should I do? You have one of five weapons, which each class has one. Then you have the Severance weapons, which each class also has one. You also have the Veteran weapons, which each class also has one. So you have a lot of options to choose from once you get to Ushu Highway and you finish it and you get to Tanigashima. Tanigashima is going to be the area where you'll feel I am doing kind of not okay damage. I need to upgrade. So the way you can upgrade yourself is by getting the gargoyle weapons. After you get your severance or you get your 1 of 5 weapon, you also can get your Satan weapon, which he is a farmable boss for free. You don't need for energy. Same thing with the severance weapons and the level 105 weapons. Now you're gonna be like, oh well, where am I gonna get my skill force if 150 or 180 is not enough from the Magatamas that I get from Moroku? Well, you can go farm yourself some Magatamas like, let's see here, like these. This is rank 9 plus, so don't get this. There's no rank 9 skills in the whole game, so it's bullshit. But if I scroll down, you know, just for argument's sake, you have two types of mags. You have the ones that are a little thicker, like these, and you have the ones that are a little smaller, like these. These ones will always give you skill force, regardless. There's a couple of exceptions, but you know, you're never gonna come across them. Very rare, and if they drop their shit, you want to run these mags to get more skill force. So see, rank 2 plus sword skill force plus 22%. This is for the sword. And they vary, right? This is 7 plus 45%. Sorry, 54%. Now, this, for an instance, 7 plus, you never want to use it because you want to make sure ranks from 5 to 7 are all getting buffed. Now, if your mags don't buff from 5 to 7, which is very rare, if you're early on in the game and, like, let's say you're farming field bosses, like for instance, this Araya mag, look at that, 5 plus, and it's 14 chakra. So let's say you got to level like 120 and you're getting the 200% skill force, that's 110 chakra, and you have like 150 chakra. You can put 3 of those, which is going to be what is it, 42 chakra on top of that. So that will alone will give you, let's see, 245, 120, 135% more skill force. So you are going to be sitting at 335% skill force, right? And each class has a mag like that, like 5 plus, and it's going to give you a nice percentage. It's just other classes are harder to gain. For instance, the sword, you don't start getting very much sword mags until you hit the moon area and you do a dungeon called Benkei Factory. That's why sword, I don't encourage new players to play sword. I never encourage them to play sword. I say if you're a new player, uh, play spear, play dual swords, bow. Bow is really nice. Wand is great. Wand is not one of the best options. I would say spear. Uh, axe is great also, but axe is a little shitty to get max for. So I would say spear is going to be your number one option if you're a new player and you want ease of access to the game. Spear has a lot of ease of access early on, and it will help you develop up into the story, and you get a status point reset. So at any point in story where you're like, I don't like Spear anymore, I want to switch, I have enough max for other classes, you can do that. You know, you can go for it. All right, so that's the mags out of the way where you're gonna get your skill force. The weapons, the gargoyle weapons that I talked about, I am a wand, so basically I only worked on my wand. I didn't work on other stuff. Now the gargoyle weapons, you have 3 of them: the rhyme, the storm, and the nova. Okay, you can tell from the names like storm, rhyme, nova. Storm is probably going to be thunder, rhyme is ice, and nova is going to be fire. You know, but here's something. They both have 2 elements. So if you read here, storm will give you 60 lightning and 4D mountain. It will take away from your fire element and your wind element. Now, this is where you start going into like mid game, okay? Not end game, mid game. You graduated early game, you're starting to go into mid game. But with the current meta, you're still early game by the game standards, and how the damage you need to dish out for these dumb events that we get. Now, your element will vary. Certain bosses are strong against elements, certain bosses are weak against certain elements. So for an instance, you have yourself your storm, lightning element, and mountain element. Certain bosses are going to be strong against lightning. Certain bosses, you won't even do damage if you use lightning. So, in that case, you need to find what the boss's weakness is. Usually, you would go to the wiki and search it up and see which element you need to use in able to be able to kill the boss. Your rhyme, it will give you ice and rain, and your nova, it will give you fire and wind. So you have a lot of options, and the less HP you have, the more skill force you gain with these weapons. So you're getting, let's say, if you're under 50% HP, you're getting 20% skill force, right? And on default, it gives you 15% skill force, so that's 35%. And we said before, you're going to be sitting at 335%, with this 35%, if you're under 50% HP, you're going to be sitting at 370% skill force. So you're only 130% skill force from the cap skill force. So you're doing very well, okay? Damage wise, don't feel shit about yourself. You're not going to be hitting like crazy numbers like all these OP players. I don't even do that. I'm not even OP. So don't feel bad, don't get discouraged. You found out the weakness, you use the weapon, right? Now, how do you get your gargoyle weapons? If you have gotten to this point, you should probably already know, but I'll take you to the area where you get your gargoyle weapons. And it is from Chifuri. She is a girl that will be unlocking dungeons for you. Now, you have daily dungeons, and gargoyles will be on these daily dungeons, right? If there's a special event going on, you can do the dungeon boost campaign, which happens very rarely, but they have been doing it a lot more recently because they've realized that players don't have enough energy to farm everything, and they're trying to give them also more chances to do the dark fin and all those like limited OP weapons. But we're not going to talk about this, okay? So you got yourself all of these. Not a single one is a gargoyle on these, by the way. Most of the time it's not. So you want to wait for the day that you have a dungeon boost for the gargoyles. You have the Inferno for the Nova, Levelance for the Storm, and the Sleet Sword for the Rhyme. Now, personal favorite of mine, I would say, or a personal opinion of mine, is see what your class has the most of. So if your class has the most like fire skills, I would go and I would get myself the level lance because the level lance is weak to fire. So it's going to be the easier gargoyle to farm and get your weapon from. Okay, if you let's say have very strong rain, you would do Inferno. If you have very strong Holy, then it doesn't matter. You're neutral against everybody. And Holy is mostly from staff, but they also have rain. But just pick the element that you have. You're gonna pick it, and you're gonna go in and you're gonna do the dungeon that is weakest to your best element with your weapon or with your class. So if you're playing sword, your best element might be like something like wind or something like fire. I would say mostly fire and lightning is sword's expertise. So find the gargoyle that's weak to that. All right. After you got your gargoyle weapons and you set up the gargs and everything, then you are going to be moving on to higher levels of Magatama because the 300 skill force that you're getting is going to only take you so far when there are weapons in the game that give you dumb stats like these. They give you like a lot of dumb stats. We're not going to look at event mags. These are mags that you can always get, these fusion bears. You can always get them at all times. It doesn't matter. The event's staying here forever. They give you 120% skill force between rank 5 to 7, which is very, very good. If your level, you see, it says if you're 125 or more, you get 1,000 attack, 130 or more, plus 2,000, so 3,000 if you're 130 or more. If level 120, you see, it just gives you boost the more level you have. So it's always good to level up, but I don't recommend leveling up past 25 until you set yourself up very well and stack yourself. So there are going to be a tier of Magatamas called the 105 Magatamas, or the 105 mags. Now, the Talon Breaker is one of them. Now, these mags, you need to get the recipe for them, and it usually all drops in Ushu Highway. Now, the way you get these, right, for the wand, you are going to go and you're going to farm Mine of Delusions in Ushu Highway. Mine of Delusions will give you the highest chance for this recipe drop. Now, to make this recipe, it's an annoying way to do that. But now I'm just exclusively going to talk about wand. I'm not going to talk about any other class. So also for the wand, the best Gark to start with is probably going to be your Nova, because you have really good rain and you have really good fire, and you just have really, really good almost everything. Okay, like almost everything you have as wand is great. All your elements are all great. You don't have a shitty element. Your elements all work. So pick and choose whatever you like, whatever skills that you have the most of, do that card. But anyway, Talon Breaker Magatama, it will give you 60% skill force on base, and if you're under 50% HP, you're getting 40%. So that's 100% skill force if you're under 50% HP. It gives you 10 dark element and minus 5 holy element, and it gives you 10 crit force. You're like, what the heck is crit force? It's basically crit damage. If you don't know what crit damage is, it's a damage that amplifies your damage even furthermore when you land a critical hit. With the current meta and the multi-hit meta, you want to be sitting around 35 to 50 crit, not more, not less. I would say if you're below a 35 crit, all your skills need to hit around 9 to 12 times to be able to compensate for the damage loss on the non-crit hits. Now, skill force, as you see for my wand, I'm maxed out at 500 right now. For the skill force, sorry, my bad. For the status details, you will see I am running a rain build. Now, these are not, I'm not going to talk about them right now. You will see that my crit force is sitting at 204. 204 is good. It's really good. I'm not running my accessories. With my accessories, I will be jumping all the way to 224. And I will get a little bit more stats on my things when I run my accessories. My cooldown cut is 80. When it shows the stat is green, it means the stat can't go higher. So if you have a stat that it looks green, you can't go higher than that. So your SP recovery is maxed out, the cooldown cut is maxed out, which is great. The crit force 200 is okay-ish. You know, it's not bad, it's not good. I would say it's good. It's okay. You can run with it. You're not gonna have issues. Now, the more crit force you have, the better, and it maxes out at 300, which means 300% more damage when you crit. Now, this isn't base damage. This is the damage after you've calculated the mags, buffs, and then you multiply them by this number. So after you've gotten everything, all the mag, all your base buffs and everything, and how much damage you calculated, you add, let's say, 2 times, and 2 times, it will be like that number. So like let's say before you crit, you're doing 5 million per hit. After you crit, you have 2 times, so that's going to be 50 million crit. Simple math, not an issue. If it's like 1 times more, you are going to be sitting at 10 million. So it's very simple math. No problems here. You can calculate it. It's not an issue. Now, considering now you know about crit force, let's talk about how to get the Talon Breaker Magatama and what you need to farm for it. So for that, we're going to go to our Kaguya, and we are going to check out our Magatama crafting. Now, the wand mags are always going to be on this blue spot. I don't know why, whatever. Anyway, you have your Talon Breaker. Where is it? Here. Here's the recipe. Now, the mag can vary all the way up from 0 grade to 50 grade to 100 grade. Grade doesn't mean increase or decrease in the power of the mag, it just gives more defense in general. So if you got like a bad chalk grade, don't really feel bad. It's not really a important thing for you, because even with 60,000 defense on each, people are still getting one-shotted. So yeah. You need Magic Magatama, which can be farmed on your way to Edo in an area called Kusatsu. Now in that area you have two dungeons, Azami Crossing and Wara Bazooka. They relatively are both okay for the drop. I would say run a 200% drop boost, run a 4-man party, and don't run hell mode, run hard mode for both Water Bazooka or Azami Crossing. Run hard mode with 4 man and go in, and you're good to go. You will not get the drop on the first hour, maybe. Sometimes it's just all about luck, basically. Even with the drop boost, sometimes I feel like it's just all luck. So the drop is very low. You have to run a bunch of times to get the mag that you want, because all the other mags to make the 105 Magatama, Talon Breaker, whether it be the Skyrending or whatever, uh, you will have to do those dungeons. So there's a chance you will get a Magatama for the other class that's not your main class, okay? Scarlet Gems and Mortal Gems, both of those you can farm them in Ushu Highway. That's why I don't recommend going for the 105s until you have reached Ushu Highway, because you can you can find those gems as drops. The Eigetsu Magatama, you will literally just find that randomly. I would say the best chance for you to get this mag is if you're on the moon, or is if you are doing field bosses, which is, you know, you find field bosses a lot nowadays. Nobody really goes for the kill, and it helps you out in getting your Magatamas as a wand user or any user. So go for the field bosses if you're a new player. They give you the power to do that, so do it. Why not? You're getting a lot of drops, and use the drop boost on the field boss because you want to get more than one Magatama when he dies. Okay? Now, you get your Magic Mag, you get your Lord Renge, which is also an annoying ass Magatama to get. I recommend personally farming the field boss in the second area in Kumaso, the guy, the Cyclops with the one eye, or what was his name? Mm, something San, something San or whatever. He basically like a one-eyed ogre. You want to kill that field boss in Kumaso, and he drops in 3 different fields. Now, once you kill him, you have a chance to get a Lord Renge. If that doesn't give you, you're gonna go to Izumo, and you're gonna farm the magician with the prayer beads in his hand, and you're gonna. He's also a one-eyed Cyclops, but he has a prayer bead in his hand, and he's wearing some magic clothes. You know what I mean? The magician clothes, Mr. Magician. If that doesn't work, move your ass to Sekigahara and find the wheel bosses, which the wheel bosses are very annoying. Now, efficient way to farm bosses, there's going to be multiple channels in each field. So if you finish the bosses on the first channel, move to the second channel and search for the boss again, and hopefully you will find him and kill him, and hopefully you can get yourself a Lord Renge. Now, Lord Renges are 39 chakra, but they're also pretty usable, okay? Like you can use it. Like 45% skill force is nothing to laugh at. So yeah, use your Lord Renge if you get it. It helps you until you are ready to craft your 105. Sorry, I need to show you more, but I backed out. All right, now after you get your 105 mag, well, you're gonna get 3 of them, because if there's no event, get 3 Talon Breaker Magatamas. It's that simple. It's gonna take a lot of time, but you need to get it. After you get your Talon Breakers, you can already see the answer, which is right under it. It is the Talon Breaker Magatama Fused. You're like, what the heck is this? This is an upgraded version of the Talon Breaker, and it is so much better. It gives you a lot more stats, and it's probably 10 times better than the 105, which is insane, because the 105, this is 12 levels higher equip requirement than the 105 Magatama. It will require you a Talon Breaker, an Usagetsu Magatama, which is a pain in the ass to get. You have to farm this from the moon. You might have to do dungeons called Lacus Mortis or a dungeon called Kaguya's Home. Kaguya's Home is for axe. Lacus Mortis is for wands and staffs and dual swords and bows. Passive Rain is for spear mainly and wands. And then you have Benkei Factory, which is mainly for sword. Sword users, look at Benkei Factory, sleep in it for like 2-3 months, farm your mats, and you're out. You're done. Uh, Akatsukiyamis and Nubatamas. These you need to do a dungeon called Dew Creek. Now, Akatsukiyamis, I would say the best place to farm them is probably Lacus Mortis, which is the most annoying dungeon in this entire game, in my opinion. It's very, very annoying. Nobody likes it. It's an ass. You farm Lacus Mortis, and you have a chance to get your Akatsukiyami. Nubatamas, you can get these from Dew Creek. They drop relatively, they're relatively common, basically. You don't really see You don't really see them that much, but they drop. Like let's say they're the same drop as the magic Magatama. You know what I mean? That you need for your 105. Akatsukiyamis are a bit of a hassle. Of ivory gems, obsidian gems are going to drop from Ushu Highway, just doing the dungeons there. The Lunar Spirit Seal is probably the rarest drop in this whole entire row of drops. And the way to get that is by doing Palace of Rain, which is the most visited dungeon in the moon. If you want to get a Lunar Spirit Seal, you have to sleep in Palace of Rain, and it is by no easy means a like it's not an easy dungeon. It's a hard dungeon, man. Endgame players will like tell you, "Oh, it's easy," and make it like, "Oh yeah, it's no problem." It's hard. It's hard. If you don't pay money on this game and you've never played through events, you don't have event mags, you don't have weapons to support yourself, it will be very, very hard. Probably very hard. And to get the highest chance for that, you need to do Pulse of Rain Oni mode, which increases the chance significantly on the Lunar Spirit Seal to drop. Now, you can hang around. There's a lot of nice players that run Oni mode. I've not played the Steam version, so I don't know. But I will tell you, there are going to be a lot of players at Pass of Rain when the reset hits. So check them out. Be like, hey man, if you ever do Pass of Rain, hit me up. I need this. Be like, yeah, sure, bro, no problem. You need you fused. I'll help you farm your Lunar Spirit Seal. There's a lot of nice players in the game. Blueprints, you are going to get these from Dew Creek. So, two stones, one bird. You hit the bird on the two stones, and you get yourself a Nubatama and some blueprints. No, I'm just joking. But anyway, you farm the blueprints from Dew Creek. They they are only a reward up, so they don't drop from enemies. So you have to actually get the clear on the dungeon, kill the last bosses, which are going to be a Gyuki spider and a wheel bitch. You kill those two, you move on, you get out of the dungeon. The wandering spirits, you will get those from Lacus Mortis. They are also a reward up drop, if I'm not mistaken. Winter Moon Dew also drops from Dew Creek. Oh, sorry, my bad. Blueprints are from Benkei Factory, Winter Moon Dew is from Dew Creek, and Wandering Spirit is from Lacus Mortis. And Lunar Spirit Seals are going to be a boss drop only from Palace of Rain. No other way to get it. I don't know if they brought it in events before, but there's no other way to get it. Ivories and Obsidian Gems you are going to farm in Ushu Highway, and Nubatamas are going to be farmed in Dew Creek, Akatsukiyamis in Lacus Mortis, or 5-man Dew Creek on normal. You can also get them in Passive Rain or Kaguya's Home, but the chance is very shit. I would say, I would say either Lacus. So, man, it's keep pressing on shit. All right, I would say either Lacus Mortis, Dew Creek, 5-man on normal, or Kaguya's Home. Either one of those is really good for Akatsukiyamis. And there you go, you have yourself a fused. Now, the next tier, which I don't have the recipe for because it is very, very annoying to get. Now, I don't know what you need for the recipe, but I have my trusty phone next to me, so I can search up and see what my Talon Breaker Tempest is going to need. Alright, here we go. Talon Breaker Tempest. The best Dark Magatama in the entire game. If you don't have a Knowledge Mastery Mag. Knowledge Mastery Mags are the 127 version of Knowledge Mags, and they give you crit force. Now, why is this mag so goddamn broken? It's 55 chakra, takes up a lot of space. Grade 0, you're getting 3,500 defense, magical defense, and physical defense. Now look at what it gives you. On base, it gives you 120% skill force. So you're like, okay, if I run 3 of those, I'm going to be able to get around 360% skill force. But that is less skill force than what I had. Just wait, bro. When you are under 50% HP, you get extra 50. So you're getting 170 skill force. So with 3 of those Magatamas, you are 510% skill force. You cap at 500, you're capped. You get 50 dark and 30 fire, which means 150 dark and 90 fire element. Great. You get 90 crit force if you have 3 of them. Crit force is insanely good. So if you have 90 crit force, your base crit force is at 180. That's without any ornamentations. You're going to be looking at 270 crit force, which is dumb. very dumb numbers. It's very high. It's very crazy. And then you're getting 15 cooldown cut. So as you saw with my build, it's 80. I actually don't know what's the base of cooldown cut, but let's say like 20 approximately. So 45 plus 20, that is going to be 65 cooldown cut. If you're level 130 or more, you're getting 2500 attack. So if you got 3, you are getting 7500 attack. So this Magatama, even if you have 1, it is very broken because it's giving you all of these extra stats at no cost of durability loss. Like you're good. You don't lose a lot of durability, which is a big issue in endgame, because all of these event Magatamas and the special Magatamas we farm will make you lose durability, whether you like it or not, and it is not nice. Like you'll lose 100%, between 100% to 150% more durability per skill cast. Now, let's search up the Talon Breaker Tempest and see what it needs to be made, which is, by the way, you will see why it's very annoying to make a Tempest very, very quickly. You are going to need a Talon Breaker Magatama fused. Alright, you're like, okay, cool, cool, cool. I made my fused. You will need a Skyrending Magatama fused. You're like, what the fuck, bro? You just said, like, we don't need to do Benkei Factory. Well, you want the Tempest, right? So shut up and farm. Skyrending Magatama fused. And then you're like, okay, cool, 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 cool. Alright, alright. Two fused, no, but then you need a dancing water maggot. You're like, goddamn, and you also need to do Lacus Mortis for the dual storage recipe, bro. What the fuck's this? Well, you know, it's a JRPG MMO, so what can you do, right? And it's a shitty one, so it makes you farm a lot more for less reward. Well, you know, it's not worth it if you have no life. But it's worth it if you have no life because you can no life the game. But if you have a life, it's not worth it to even play the game. Uh, you can be casual and play through events, so you don't need to get the Tempest, but it really helps out a lot. Uh, Jokes aside, you need also 150 earthen, 150 heavenly marbles, and need 100 earthen marbles. Now you can farm those from the end game dungeons that you get later on. I don't know their names, but I have them unlocked. I know how to get to them. Then you need a turquoise temper seedling. Now the way you get that is you have to go and do the Mephistopheles dungeon. There's a Mephistopheles dungeon that you can get that from, and it is, if I remember correctly, the tiger one. You have to do. Okay, there we go. It loaded. Arcane Syria Grotto Tenkoin. That's the one that you have to do, and it is a hidden boss drop and a reward up drop at the end of the dungeon. Then you're gonna need 50 horny sculptures or horned sculptures, as the game writes, but they're horny for sure. You need 50 of those, and you get those from a enemy called Eldritch Beast, which you also get from the wardings from Chifuri. So he's also he's the most annoying boss in the game. No doubt, most annoying boss to ever grace this game. Uh, Seedling of Calamity, you get this from doing, uh, God, Logos Araman, which is also a weapon that you need to farm for yourself. It's a wand and an axe, so it's exclusive for those two types. So you can go and farm your Logos Arman and get some mats for your Tempest at the same time. And Logos very, very, very easy to kill. It's not an issue. You already have very strong mountain as a wand. Uh, we need 20 Radiant Spines, which I think they drop from Tiamat, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they drop from Blitz Tiamat. It's also a warding dungeon. You can go and farm that. You also need 10 T of Eternal Night, which drops from the Abyss boss, which is not very fun, but you know, we have strong mountains, so who cares? Then you need Fallen Crosses. You need 20 Radiant Spines, 30 Seedlings of Calamity, 50 Horned Sculptures, 10 of Eternal Nights, and 3 Fallen Crosses, which are all annoying as hell drops to get. I was lucky enough to do the Lucifer Purgatory when it came in, so I have a load of crosses that I can just drop. Tea of Eternal Nights, there's the event going on right now, so I can buy my teas. Radiant Spines, I have to go farm Blitz Diamat, but it's okay because I can go and make also my White Brilliance or Raid depending on what I need. So basically all these mats, you can save some of them and use some of them, okay? The turquoise timber seedling, it is very easy to get. Same thing with the heavenly marble and the earthen marble. No energy required. Everything is easy to get. Same thing with the sky rending and the dancing water and the talon breaker fused. You don't need to drop a single point of energy, but at the same time, it's a lot of farming. Like I would say to make a tempest, if you are not a pay player and you don't like to pay money, it will take you around 2 to 3 months to make your tempest. So it will take some farming, but you don't have to do it if you've played through events. But if you're a new player, it might be one of the only ways. But they usually drop events with good Magatamas like every year, so you don't have to feel very intimidated. All right. Then you have Damshki. No more, no more. That's it for the Magatamas. All right. That's all the mags for the wand. Now, what weapons do you need to go for as a wand main, as a wand player? What do you need to do? What do you got to do? All right. Uh, soul recipe. All right. So I was doing Eldritch Beast earlier. All right. So we have all of these cool weapons that you can get. A lot of them. We already talked about the Nova. Look at that. It's very easy to make the gargoyles. They made it very, very easy. You don't require anything beside the materials from the bosses. The Gravitas Cross is the Satan weapon. I don't recommend making it, but you can check out how it looks. Let me just view it real quick. Boom. Chose weapon have equipped. Then we press on the Gravitas Cross, and lo and behold, it looks very weird. I I have one. I can show it to you. But yeah, this is the Wand Cross. This is it at grade 100. It's not the best damage. It is a 108 weapon, but it's giving you 24 wisdom, 40 dark, and 40 lightning. So if you want the early dark and lightning weapon before logos, you should really go for this. It's actually a really nice weapon. I don't see why not to get it, and the Oogie on it is actually not bad. It's one of the better ones that you can get on a Satan weapon. And Satan is free to do. He's very easy to kill. You shouldn't have problems with him. Just use Mountain, and he will get destroyed, or use Holy Element. We have Bright Homing. It's a great skill, so use it, and you don't even need to get close to the man. Alright, so that is it for your light and dark weapon. Then if you want to upgrade from your dark and lightning weapon, you can go and get yourself your chaos pupil, which looks sick as hell. I don't have it, but I'm working towards it, as you can see. The only issue is these trash cans, and I'm not getting this weapon anytime soon. I am very energy deprived. Very energy deprived. It's very bad. Alright, let me tell you what it's going to be easy, what's going to be hard. The Idamas and the Dark Stones, you just get those. The Idamas are going to be from warding dungeons, so just by running the Logos dungeon, you're going to get a load of Idamas, so it's always save Idamas. It's good to have them on. Gray Apples, Black Moth Scales, those are going to be a drop from Logos Araman, but you don't need to do the Logos dungeon, you just need to do the normal Araman, which is in Yakumo Temple in Kyoto. He's one of the bosses in that dungeon. Go in, kill the boss, get out. Go in, kill the boss, get out, right? And there's 3 bosses, so I would say do the whole dungeon except the final room, because you're going to get materials that will help you in a lot of things in your game. The Seedling of Calamity, it drops from the Logos dungeon. This you have to actually drop like energy for it. The Gloom Prophecy, it also drops from the energy dungeon. The Logos Iron the Z Seedling also drops from the energy dungeon. Now you need to make a Evil Eye Axe at plus 50 and a Evil Eye Wand at plus 70. So you also need to work a little bit on your axe staff. Now, on your axe recipe. Now, there's only 2 recipes from that dungeon, so you probably have them all. Now, your Evil Eye Pupil. Now, this will require you a Rufu Evil Eye Wand at plus 70, so you can already see this is easy to make. Like, I can make it right now. It's not an issue. You can make it. It needs very, very small amounts of materials. We make this, we get it to level 70, and then you're gonna need these type of materials. Now, keep in mind, you need to do the first two forms the same for the axe. So whatever you are counting here, here, and here, you're gonna have to double, okay? So basically, you're gonna need for the first one 20 disease seedlings, 60 black mouse scales, and 20 gray apples and 40 idamas. The next one, you're gonna need plus 70 on each of the weapons. You're gonna need 60 disease seedling, 90 gloom prophecy, 100 black mouse scales, and 60 gray apples and 300 idamas. For the third one, you are going to require a shit ton of materials again. So you're gonna need to sleep in that Yakumo temple for like 3-4 days and just farm the boss like 300-400 times and you'll be good. Alright, now that is going to be one of the better lightning and dark weapons. Now why is it very good? We're attack plus 20. If you attack enemies in their butt, if you're in their back and you slap them, you are going to be dealing plus, I think, 20% more damage. Like on top of all the damage after all the crit, add 20% on that and add it to your damage. So that's why it's very, very spicy. And it's giving you 30% more affinity, so that gives you more damage, more raw damage. So it helps you out a lot in your damage. Now, this is for your lightning and dark. I don't recommend going for this straight ahead, right? Like, don't do it unless there is a dungeon boost campaign, because it cuts down the energy usage from like 50 to 25 on hell mode. So half the time, half the energy consumption. It's great. Now, you don't want to go for this, let's say, as your dark weapon, okay? No problem. We can go and check out the Night Sky. Yes, yes, yes. A very easy weapon to make. This is actually very easy to make. It's very straightforward. You don't have to go through a lot of loopholes to make this weapon, and you don't have to farm a lot of things. Now, this is going to be a very, very, very powerful dark weapon that you can run as a wand player. It will give you a 30 dark element, so it's not the best, but it helps. It helps, and your Magatamas already give you dark, so it helps you out anyway. You're going to need the Tenryu Heaven, and you're going to need the Huryu Zenith, and you're going to need the Uryu Rainwater. Now you do these by doing the Dragon Arc dungeons, and it is self-explanatory. Literally says the name of the dungeon in the weapon. You don't even have to think about it. Just make your Rainwater, make your Zenith, and make your Heaven. But to make them, you're going to need something called the Lorelei. And to get that base weapon, you're going to have to do something called Junction. Yeah, what is Junction? What is Junction? It's a recipe that you have to get from this area. Now let's enter this man's brain, which is Aramitama. Takes some time to load into this man's brain. He holds a lot of data. You need to do where is it? I think this one. Yeah, juncture. There we go. You have to clear between 10 to 30 rooms, but clear 100 for the recipe basically. It's not guaranteed to drop, but you know, do it. You might get the recipe. I would say it will take you like maybe 2, 3, 4 runs, maybe between 1 to 4 runs to get your recipe on average. Now let's exit this man's brain. You get that recipe. After you get the recipe, you make the weapon, get it to plus 30, slap it, make your 3 weapons. So it's just energy consumption. If you don't have energy restores, you're gonna suffer. Okay, that's the premise. And since there's a new management taking over the game, they're giving a lot more energy restores. So thank God for that. I have achievement. All right, so Night Sky, great dark weapon, done deal. You have a dark weapon for your mid-game farming. What is the next weapon that you need to get? You need yourself a fire weapon. Now, I don't have the recipe, but you need to get an Odin weapon. Now, if I go real quick over here, not very quick, but you know, quick enough. All right, look at Mister with his myriad spear. This guy's selling reduxes. Cool. All right, you are going to do Visual Odin. Now this weapon will give you fire element. It has no negative to mountain also, so you can run it as a mountain weapon too if you need to. But this will be a really good fire weapon to get nonetheless. I would say you should get it. And look, man, like I don't need to explain every single mat because just search up the weapon. It'll tell you exactly what it needs and how to get it. You need golden helm fragments. You need to kill Odin in the story. So just keep killing him over and over again, or just get it from events because they sell them in the shop. Now that's you're gonna be your fire weapon. That's after the gargoyles, by the way, because gargoyles are like entry game level weapons. Okay, they're like beginning of mid game. So we're not even gonna focus on them because they're very self-explanatory. You don't need to use your brain for them. And that's the Lorelei that you're gonna get. This is what it looks like. Pretty shit. And these are the mats that you need for it. Not the most, not the most friendly mats, but they're very, very easy to get. Like the burnt talisman is very easy. Everything is easy here, man. It just takes time. Like especially the tep extract. This is an asshole like mat to get. Has You have to go through a full fucking dungeon just to get two of them. Sometimes one. All right. Uh, let's see. We talked about a fire weapon, a dark weapon, and we talked about what else? A lightning and dark weapon, or a lightning weapon mainly, which is the Chaos Pupil. The Falling Star. Uh, Falling Star. This is this takes some time. Okay, we're not going to talk about this now. All right, now a Holy and Rain weapon. Oh Lord, this will waste a lot of your energy, but it is very, very worth it. Very, very, very worth it. Now, this weapon is called Sovereign Wand Eternity Reverence 3. You have the Reverence 1, 2, 3. Shortcut, it's called the Rev. Everyone will understand what is a Rev or the Lancelot weapons. Now, there are a series of dungeons you need to do for every single one of these, and you have to talk to Lancelot in order to buy the recipes from her and then to make the weapons. Okay? And it's very simple. You just have to run. You need like around 40 full energy restores to make this weapon, okay? I'm not gonna sugarcoat this shit. And the dungeons are hard to do. Well, it's not hard, it's just the boss has a lot of fucking HP. So if you don't have good enough fire element, you're gonna struggle a little bit, especially with this ass, because the boss that I need to do, he drops yellowed Ganoid scales and he drops Scarlet Eye of the Truth, or whatever the heck. You need a lot of those. You need 50, 80, 100, 115, 125, 130. So you need 130 total drops. So you need to have killed the boss around 130 times. Sometimes less. Actually, it's less if you get lucky with the drops, but always run a drop boost. You can only get the Supreme if you got this from the event, and it requires Reverence too, but the Supreme is worth it. It's so, so worth it. It's a great fire weapon. Now, the Rev 3 is probably going to be your best holy and what is it called, and rain weapon for a long time. It's a really nice weapon. So these are the weapons that I would say you should make. Fire, you got the Odin weapon. Holy and rain, you got yourself the Lancelot weapons, which I just showed you. If you want to make a lightning weapon, you can make your Logos, or you can make your Satan weapon. But the Storm is better than the Satan weapon, so you're gonna run with your Storm for a while. Storm is gonna be a good mountain weapon also because it has mountain elements. So if you want a mountain weapon main, you can make a Storm and just use it, okay? And that's everything for the wand. And if you want the dark weapon, you're gonna have to go do dragon arcs and get yourself the where is it? Let me show it to you. There we go. Your night sky. And that's it. Now you're like, hey, how did you get this? This is an event exclusive weapon. So I'm not going to include any event exclusive. I'm just giving you the game with no events. Now you might get an event that can give you access to very dumb strong weapons like the silhouette weapons, which are like rain and shit. You might get access to other weapons too that give you ice element later on in the event. So yeah, and for an ice weapon, to be honest, man, an ice element is a struggle for a lot of players in this game. So they usually go for their frozen shadow weapon, which is where is it? The boss is called the Dark Fin, and he is in the dungeon boost campaigns because he's one of the most annoying bosses to farm. Here we go. Assault Dark Fin Limited. This is what you want to do, okay? And this weapon will approximately take you around 5 months to 6 months to actually make. And I'm not even exaggerating, I'm being serious. It takes that long. All right. Um, yeah, so if you want an ice weapon, you have to make the Abyss. And the Abyss needs all three gargoyles, if I'm not mistaken. And it is a annoying ass weapon to farm. The boss is very easy to kill because your wand and your mountain is actually very strong. But that's all that you need to know about the wand. I'm sorry I babbled too much, but that's literally everything. Like everything, everything. Uh, there are a bunch of weapons that are left out because they're end game weapons, and by the time you get to where I'm talking to you, you're probably gonna have a full understanding of how to get those weapons and how to farm them. People will help you and stuff. Okay? But I hope this has been of help to any new players or to any existing players. And I link my Discord in the description, so you can hit me up if you want to. Well, have a good time and see you later.